Meow, meow, meow. Welcome to another adventure into comedy Friday night. We intend to offend. If you have a light worker stick up your ass so far it comes out your tongue, this is not the show for you. I am joined by my intrepid offender, Monty Dean. Welcome to our Friday night comedy special.
Thank you. Facebook just told me that we'd just gone live, so thank you, Mark, for the for the notification. I kind of know that, so the Facebook is working at this point in time.
And good old Facebook. If you guys are listening to us on Facebook and want to come and join the comedy train and get on this Friday night special, you have to be in our Zoom room. And this is all of the information of how to join our Zoom room. Go to zoom.us, put in your meeting number, and you will be prompted to come into the room here, in which we will be talking to our fantabulous chat room people. And everybody that's in the chat right now, give me a middle finger in the chat room saying we're all number one. And if you want to if you all want to dial in via a phone, all the information is there for your dialing pleasure. Monty, let's get on the round of first offense.
Well, I've made a list to justify to the tax man what I'm doing. So this is from the 24th. So I've got like 2 weeks of on my comedy radar. Thank you, Colleen. I'll look at that, Aaron, as well. You're number one. You're number one.
Exactly.
What I don't like is my reactions don't have that, because apparently I have hand claps or a thumb. So maybe I can stick the thumb up my butt. But here in Victoria, we've had COVID restrictions in place because, interesting enough, 2 weeks beforehand, you had all the Black Lives Matter protests. And then 14 days later, there was a spike, strangely enough, in COVID cases. Not deaths, just cases. And so we're going to open up, and then 24 hours later, okay, we're closing back down. And so there was a run on toilet paper again here in Victoria. So that's always good.
The irony, as soon as they opened the bars in Florida and in Texas, the cases spiked through the roof. And now there's this one bar in Michigan where like 500 cases have been connected to one bar, one college town bar.
Yeah, oh, well, see, now, I do remember many months ago, remember those heady days of February? Yes. I think we went...
and those misty days of March.
Oh, good times. I think I asked you, so what are we going to see? I think we got up to 7 or 8 stages of lockdown. And I think number 1 or 2, no, 2 or 3 was horny. And so we've had lockdown for 3-4 months, and people want to get out and socialize and drink and get their fuck on. That's probably why there's a lot of, especially a college town, 500. That's not a surprising at all. It's like, I can leave the dorm room. Oh, right.
The irony is they could do it in the dorm room, but they need that alcohol. And also far too many people live the liquor life, and I'm offending to it. It's just, part of the world we live in. And 9 months from March, which is going to be December 15th, there's going to be a lot of children born for Christmas.
What would they be called?
COVIDiots?
No. That's the parents. They'll be called COVID-mennials or something.
Coronials.
Colonial. So it sounds like an Asian person trying to say colonials.
Yes.
You're colonial.
You're colonial. Exactly.
You're colonial. I have
millennials.
Millennials.
You have just been upstaged by the coronials.
Yeah, I have watched a Black Panther. We hate colonialism.
Exactly. We hate colonialism.
Yeah, even though the Chinese...
Millennials, you are now old. Welcome to the club.
Oh yeah, that's scary. Like, I think it was 2018 when people's like, we're born from the 70s. where, hello, we're from the 20th century. That freaks out a lot of people to start with. But 2018, you realize that people that are going to go into bars and start drinking were born in this century. Oh, oh no.
Exactly. Oh no.
So there was it was a run on toilet paper again, and so the rationing has started. And so like, oh dear. Because who bought all the toilet paper 3 months ago? And what have you been doing with, like, I've seen people with trolleys up to here, and you could build rafts unless they're building houses in their lounge room. What are you doing with it all? I mean, strangely enough, when the lockdown was announced on the Sunday, I happened to, like, my higher self was like, I'll just buy some toilet paper, and I got 12 rolls. Because I didn't need that's the first time I bought toilet paper this year, because I don't use that much, and so I'm set for about a year and a half. Was that the voice of God or Robert?
I'm just saying you started it all.
Wow. What? You saying that I give people the shit?
He's got 12 rolls. Let's get 14.
I buy a 72 roll at Costco every 4 months, every 6 months. Did I buy an extra 72 roll? Yes, but that's plenty for right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's store for the winter type thing, and yeah, and those preppers
kindling for a fire.
Yeah, those preppers don't look so weird now, do they, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh God, COVID has validated so much of prepper life.
Yeah. Now the trick is, as I would say, a round table, you can prep and have, like, say, 2 months worth of food, and if nothing happens, you have 2 months worth of food. So now the trick is, you slowly eat it and replace it. So you don't have, I bought this in 1915, like this cat. Like, you're supposed to swap it out. Like,
I have to say something from the chat room. Monty, 12 rolls for 12 mouths, impressive. Monty doesn't need so much toilet paper because the shit comes out of his mouth.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that is mathematically effective. 12 rolls in 12 months. Man, you got the science now. What do you fold them over into triangles?
You should see how many napkins I go through, though.
3 napkins from
3,000 napkins a month. It's really, the balance is not there. Or basically I'm turning into a bear where I just take a really big dump every 3 months.
Oh boy. Let me see if I can get this picture.
Oh, you want to please expand on that, because you just freaked out half the audience. It's like, I take a crap every 3 months. Let me get a picture. Oh,
when I was living somewhere else, a bear took a crap on the front of my.
Okay, which spirit animal did you upset?
Well, no, the bear. I thought it shit out its entire intestine. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can find it.
Apparently, through my knowledge of Metallica, when you go bear hunting, when they come out of hibernation, you can't really eat them because they're so septic full of crap. Like,
right.
You actually have to wait till their system flushes everything out before you eat them. I don't know why you would eat bear apart from survival.
I can't even bear the thought of doing that.
You're very quiet there, Robert. It's like, it sounds like, the devil and the angel, and you're one of them in the background.
Turn my microphone volume up.
Yeah, that's the one.
Hold on. I know where it's at.
Well, that's being Australian. We have koalas. People call them koala bears. They're not really a bear. They're stoners because they get high off the eucalyptus, and they've got massive claws. So it's a good thing that they're stoned, because they'll rip the crap out of you. They're lovely animals. Unfortunately, they took a massive hit with the fire. Remember the fires here in Australia over the summer?
Yes, those fires.
Yep. What?
Got it. I got it.
Excellent.
Now let me send to Skype, damn it. Uh-huh.
What are we looking for?
Hold on a second. Okay, Robert, I'm going to send you a picture. Okay, wise. Hold on a second.
In front of the TV without watching free-to-air television, watching YouTube. Like
Robert,
now.
I've just sent to your Skype the most unique bear shit in the world. Now, I drove up. This is in the front of my driveway. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And the picture you don't realize how big it is. It must be about 5.5 feet round.
Ooh, so it's like a dragon shit.
Yes, you can see uneaten nuts and berries. And it's like
small children.
The bear woke up going, oh, I gotta go. I gotta go.
There's the Galactic Historian's house. He'll need wow. He'll need material in 3 years.
It's all petrified and shit. Now, bears are the great cyclical dreamer. They have, why does a bear shit in the woods? Why does a bear shit on Andrew's driveway? Yes, I went through all of that. And if you zoom in a little bit, it ate berries, it ate bee calves, everything. See? Fresh nuts, everything. Totally undigested.
Yeah, I'm glad I live in suburbia. we just have meth heads. So
yes, it kept going, and then I found the second and the third and the fourth, which were even bigger. So this bear just shat all over my driveway.
Because it can.
I could only imagine the bear going, I can't go anymore.
Well, you do know what they say. Life is so much better after a big poo.
And the last one, it wasn't a big circle. It was a straight line.
See, all the weight's gone, so it's moving faster. So. Or it was an exclamation mark.
Yes. My spirit animal's shitting bear.
Oh, he must be one of those colonialism. I'm going to upset Asians. I do apologize. I live close to Asia, so it's weird. Dumb racist here in Australia. Oh, it's full of Asians. Yeah, what's the closest continent to Australia? Asia. Yeah, I think the closest landmass to the Australian border is Papua New Guinea, and that is that bear's in pain. Is about 80 kilometers or 80 miles away, so it's not that hard. Like, how did the Aboriginals get here? In one form of a theory, well, they had boats. Like, if you can see Papua New Guinea from the top of Queensland, it's not that. It's Easter Island, Hawaii. That's how the hell did they get there?
Exactly. I have to finish the last part of the bear shit story.
Yeah. Okay.
So about 5 days later, I saw the bear that was shitting everywhere, and it didn't look well. You could just tell it didn't look well. And I ended
Was
up
it something
talking,
he had ate?
I don't know. I ended up talking to some of my other neighbors, and so this bear on a regular basis shits in people's front doors. Okay, and their welcome mats, everything.
Ah. Yeah,
yes.
I wonder if there's a spiritual angle to that, or the bear's just a bastard.
He's just a bastard bear.
Yeah. Build a dwelling near my dwelling.
Exactly.
Oh, there you go.
I laughed. I must have laughed for 5 or 6 weeks about the bear shitting on the front of my driveway, and then the long streak at the end. What's the universe telling me? What's it telling me?
So you could twist with that, like, and the weird thing is, I live on the 13th floor in Manhattan.
Who cleaned it up? I did. A snow shovel.
Yeah, I was about to say a snow shovel and a big hose while standing upwind. Oh, I
And
know.
that picture I showed you was before I touched it with the snow shovel and everything. So when you're seeing the berries and the nuts and all that in there, that's because literally the bear had shat it out with all this petrified stuff at the same time.
I wonder, because my cat, I don't know if she was actually sick or she was trying to tell me something, but she ate all her food, and then I'm sitting here and I hear this, and everything she just ate just came back up again. And like, are you trying to communicate with me, or are you actually ill? But with the bear, it probably ate a wrong berry, and it's gone. No, everyone out, one exit.
The bear went on a cleanse. Yes, I asked that too, and I asked the universe, "What are you telling me?" A bear shitting on my driveway.
And what was your answer? Just giggling,
laughter, many different forms of, hey, maybe there's something you need to clean out.
Nothing. Just that's the answer.
That's the universe. Like, it'll still fuck with him. This will fuck with him for years.
Yeah. You're doing shamanistic ceremony. You're at the fire, and you tap into your higher self and source and the prime creator, and the response is nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
What? You bastard! I can see why everyone calls you he. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. He Universe.
Oh, yeah. All that is, was, and will be is being male again.
Yes. He's been a little chauvinistic.
No, I will not go back to the kitchen. I discovered in the last 2 weeks, I discovered a Mandela effect, because I know way too much about America compared to most Australians. Mind you, doing a radio show.
You know more about America than a lot of Americans.
I was getting to that, but I thought it'd be nice. I don't want to be a bear shitting in your driveway. That's a good question. There's a meme. Does a bear shit in the driveway?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Repeatedly. But the Juneteenth, which sounds like a dentist joke, to me that just came out of nowhere a week, and it's emancipation or free blacks, which is kind of weird because the UK got rid of slavery in 1834, so it could be a marketing thing. But yeah, never heard of it. It came out of left field.
I never heard of it before either.
Yeah.
If I did, I didn't pay attention to it.
Yeah, I was like, and what's your job again? You're Galactic historian for the Akashic Records, and you've never heard of it. That's a telling. Oh, a clue.
It could have been just some minor holiday that they decided to beat Trump up with, too. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I understand it. It's when it's the day that Lincoln freed the slaves. And of course, the Democrats at the time took 2 years to tell the slaves in certain parts of the country. That's nice, isn't it? But yeah, it came out of nowhere. That's later on. I'll have to tell you about. There's a Twitter war between African Americans and Africans. That's
been going on for a while. Yeah,
I find that fun. But Sarah, I'm with you. Juneteenth. It sounds stupid because if that ends missing, it sounds like, who's June? Why do you have her teeth? What's going on?
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of that comes out of Southern culture from the late 1880s. It doesn't make sense to the rest of the universe.
No. Yeah, I watched To Kill a Mockingbird again, and the first time I saw it, I was like, this is just a kid's movie, because it's done from the kid's perspective, and I never, when you hear about a movie, you're like, oh, it's great, and you know nothing about it, and then it's got that twist or anything. Apparently, someone wanted to cancel that because it's offensive. It's like, no, it's not. It's a perfect example of what it was like living in the South, and what people have to go through, like the whole Gone with the Wind thing again, but which is back now with a 4-minute thing. Like, this is was made back a while ago, and so there was different thinking. Like, well, duh. Anytime I show someone a bit of media, or like people complain about Doctor Who, it's 1973. I'll give you £400 and see if you can make something like that.
The irony is I grew up in a Greek family that was very Greek, but we own restaurants in downtown Cleveland, and we had every race, creed, and culture as employees, as managers. I remember my dad telling me in the late 1970s, and actually in the 60s when my grandfather owned it, that we had, regular, people that were African American that were the night managers of the bar and restaurants that we owned too. And it was unheard of at that era. And why? Because they were good people. I remember working with the one manager at the restaurant. His name was Victor, or the cook, his brother. And, I learned so much of their culture. That's why I have a lot of understanding of some of the wording they say. It's called jive talk back then, and it's evolved more and more, but it's ingrained into me because I grew up with them in the restaurant.
You would love, it's called Airplane in the rest of the world. For
yes,
some
the jive
reason.
Turkey talk. I master at that. At that when I was young. My parents are like, what's going on?
Hey, I can speak jive.
Yes,
that's
me too.
That's the Beaver's mum, June Cleaver.
Yes, I speak jive. Yes, I speak jive. Yeah,
and that's what makes that joke even like that. And you can see how awesome she is an actress.
Yeah,
and good for comedy. It's like, especially when she tells them off as she walks off.
Yeah.
Well, jive, cool,
jive
honky.
Turkey, honky, jive turkey. Exactly.
Yeah. And then the second film, just called The Sequel.
Yes.
Like, in your own words, tell us what happened on that. Oh, and, he was on. Right. And every time they say shit, it's golly.
So I'm like 7, 8 years old. And finally, my dad didn't care if they started swearing that much. Otherwise, they would have to do it. And so I'd be doing the dishes, and they'd be over there, all the guys doing their cook talk stuff. And they'd be full on jive, this, that. And some of the most strangest subject matters. I'm like, I got to process that. What? What? Something with Jello, a biscuit, and your penis?
Yeah, I could see how light language would be easy for you after that.
Yes.
Oh no, I speak jive. Oh, sit down, my brother. This will be easy.
Yes, and then every now and then they'd find Jesus again because their mother was coming in, and then it went from nasty jive talk to Jesus talk. Jesus has blessed the food.
I think the movie Dick and Jane, which is Jim Carrey. There's one great line. Like, I used to rock the pipe but I've been clean for 2 years. Praise Jesus, and just goes.
Praise Jesus.
Which I understand. I'm not against the church. Well, I am in a certain way in the big broader things, but from my perspective, I've done the whole Jesus thing in a past life, and I'm like, well, if it didn't work out for me because I'm still here. But if that's your, if you do no harm and that's your trip, go for it. And that's right. That whole free will thing. One question that does pop up though is, now I know we don't talk about Jesus or Yeshua or Elron or whatever.
Elron, Jeshua Hubbard.
Yeah.
Jesus Hubbard, Jeshua.
Yeah, the elf from the Lord of the Ring films.
Yes.
One thing it may be mentioned once in, like, when they did like the greatest story ever told, when they made those biblical films, they just say, and Satan was thrown out of heaven, and then something else happened, and they go back. Wait, what do you mean Satan was thrown out of heaven? There was a rebellion. Go on. No, that's all. Like, it doesn't explain how Lucifer was thrown out and banished and everything else like that. Because that sounds like a good story. You think they'll make movies about that, but no. It's like, and then Jeebus turned up.
Tracy, we understand it's allegorical. We are intending to offend. Gotcha. Yes. Now, Tracy, come with a comeback. Come on, Tracy. I believe you can do a great insult to me and Monty. Nope. She's thinking. Fingers on the top of the board there.
I know it's allegory, but still, like, a joke. Hey, the keyboard's playing up. Yeah, I feel your pain, Tracy. I understand. It's like Twitter without an edit button. Come on. But I just find that interesting. It's like that would be a fascinating story that Hollywood would make over and over again, where this is evil and God says no and kicks him out. Well, did he allow a monkey to eat all the peaches in the Eternity Grove? I don't know. Or am I mixing up my versions of heaven?
You're mixing your heavens up, yes.
That's my cunning plan. But yeah, I just found,
Lana, Satan has nothing to do with the Galactic Ascension machine. He was an allegory made up about 2,000 years ago.
Oh yeah, cool. Because I find it amusing in the heavy metal world where we love you all in the crowd, but you pretend to be Satanists, like the whole or we're fighting against the church, so we'll just start believing in Satan. Well, that's still part of the same story, people. That's
all right. Tracy's saying, "Get me on live, and she will do a comeback." All right, Tracy. We're going to unmute you here. Bring it on. Bring it on. Robert, unmute Tracy.
Santo, please don't take me there.
What happened? Can you hear me?
Hi, Tracy. Where are you calling from?
Oh.
You're unmuted, Ian. Just unmute. Hold on 1 second.
Unmute. I'm doing it.
Where are you calling from?
Londinium.
Welcome. What's your comeback? Bring it.
I'm in the big fires of Babylon, isn't it?
Yes, Babylon.
Babylonia. As the Galactic Historian and Earth Mother's Historian. Slancha. Oh, sorry. Wait. Yamas. What else? Oh, you got tea.
Coffee.
Very nice.
That heavy tea.
Yes, the heavy tea.
Was that an English accent?
I'm Australian. That's close enough.
No, well, people call you, what do they call you? Pommies. No, they call us limeys. We call you Aussies, and you call us what?
Pommy in Australia, English is usually referred to pommies because apparently the convicts had POM on their uniforms.
Okay, so it's got nothing to do with pomme de terre.
Don't think so, no. It's prisoner of majesty or something like that. I could be wrong, but I have no idea where pommy. It's just
pomegranate.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense either.
They were fruity.
It doesn't, does it?
They were fruity.
I like to know the etymology of words. Actually, I'm very interested to know where we get it.
Like the Americans call English limeys, and
because of the rickets and the vitamin D deficiency and all that.
Yeah, the whole thing of trying to stop scurvy. But like, really, that's your that's your insulting there. You're a fruit. Ooh.
No, it's hardly an insult. It kept them alive enough to be slaves, isn't it? Really.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Seamen. You're just able seamen going into the vessel of the ladies, vessel. Really,
yes.
Where the keys are at.
We're just one large flow of current sea, aren't we?
Interesting enough, Australians call Americans seppos, which is short, which is rhyming slang for septic tank, yank.
Okay.
And usually what's a septic tank full of? But anyway.
Well, we were talking earlier on about licking the toilet bowls, that we're going to get to a stage where the toilet bowl licking is going to happen when all these falsely inserted, let's say, altars or front imagery style for fake memories, while other weird things are getting done to the back version memories, that when those programs start faltering, they will indeed be licking the fucking toilet roll. Excuse my French. I'm allowed to swear.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did a wonderful swearing revocation, actually. I know you're not doing that, but today I've only found you very, very recently, Andreas, pardon. And it's been wonderful. I've gone from thinking I knew nothing to having lots and lots of memories coming back. So thank you for the tips.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you.
And how many teachers like me are doing comedy shows on a regular basis?
How many are gonna be doing comedy?
None, because they're all fucking laughless idiots with a stick so far up their spiritual ass it comes out their tongue.
How else could we do other things to raise people's vibrations as well as comedy? Because I'm really up for working with you on this. Music to me is my thing. Well, absolutely.
Music is one of those top ways, mixing music and comedy. Do you remember comedian Dennis Leary?
Irish over in America?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So-
Well, he has put out some comedy songs in the past about being Irish. One was called "I'm an Asshole." When I was a teenager and that song came out, that was my theme music. I'd wake up to that song.
I've got one for you that would tie all this theme in. Some say the devil is dead, the devil is dead, the devil is dead. Some say the devil is dead and living in Killarney.
Mhm.
Some say he rose again. Some say he rose again. Some say he rose again and joined the British Army.
Yep.
I think an Irishman wrote that.
I think an Irishman wrote that.
Well, yeah. We're all sellouts to each other's lands, aren't we? We ultimately still own.
I didn't
Bye,
sell out.
Madge.
I didn't sell out. I bought into my future.
You bought into your body, isn't it? You live in your
That's
body.
right.
You don't live in the land
Mhm.
with a stupid admiralty law ruling you, paying
Mhm.
taxes.
Mhm.
Well, I hope you don't have any contracts with the IRS, because you are obviously committing treason if you do. Do you know about natural law and common law and stuff?
I know the big difference. I actually used to work with the top 20 law ninjas of the world and do radio
Not
shows with them.
Freeman. Not Freeman.
Oh, do you know who Rod Class is?
These are name droppy things. I don't want to speak to your ego. I know you've had to put a barrier in. That's what you do. That's fair enough. But I don't know. I want to feel to your heart.
Do you know
rather
what
than
the
my mind.
International Tribunal of Natural Justice is?
They're my best friends doing the thing right now. Yeah, Debbie living in my house with the cats, the PA girl.
I was like one of the first people that helped found it in the,
Oh, you know
in the
Sasha.
organization.
You know
Oh, I
Sasha.
know Sasha very well.
Yeah.
Yes.
I walked his dog last Christmas on Christmas Day while sitting all forlorn, wondering why I had manifested such a shit reality, realizing that some of us have literally had to be like Persephone.
Now, the question is, did Sasha allow you to do that, or did you just go steal the dog and go for a walk?
Well, Sasha palmed his dog off onto Debbie, the right-hand wing woman, who then palmed her cats off onto me. And then I've palmed them off on, yeah, it goes round and round, cats and dogs. It's like raining cats and dogs. It's all good. It's all good. I don't know him personally. I don't know whether I'm being kept at distance from him or what.
No, that's
But
just
yeah.
the way that's just the way he is.
And all that.
That's just the way.
So-
Until you're in the inner circle, that's the way it is.
Well, unless you want to sit on his lap, my darling, talking about get out the kitchen and sit on my lap. Did I say that?
I don't
We
want
all
to
did
say.
that,
I
though.
don't want to. I don't want to. I was
What
as
I love
again.
about him,
I
no,
did.
seriously,
I
from
did.
a woman's
I did.
point of view,
I did all a whole bunch of law and sovereignty stuff, but it reached a point, and I would
so you
regularly
know
feature.
what's his
Just
name?
reached a. I did hundreds of shows. Anyways, it just reached a point where I didn't want to do it anymore because there was no enforcement, and the
Right.
anger within the people was so much that it was driving them into doing things that were just
Out of sovereignty. They talk about 0
Right.
point and it's not 0 point.
They got that word from me from my opening speeches, actually.
You know what? It's so funny because when I listen to your revocations and I feel them, it's like I wrote them. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I actually messaged Sasha and said, can you make sure that you're running a bath for Debbie? Because she's running around after you like a lackey. And also, what about forgiveness? What about forgiveness? And he went, it's not for me to be instructed or something. And I'm like, okay, there's a lot of people dissing him at the minute. And I can feel what the good thing is. I like to balance it. On the good side, he has said very recently, please, men, step up to the plate. At the moment, it's all the women being warriors. And yes, I'm a warrior for truth. So I'm very much integrated with my masculine, but very much in my feminine as well. And
Congratulations, you're one of the few.
Elements.
sometimes it's really hard for people to accept that we have to have both elements. So when if I hear a male against female joke, the sensitivities are only there because of the overlying, inner reaching, outdated and outleaving us now. Bye-bye patriarchy. It's clinging its fucking anchors in so desperately, trying its hardest not to let us ascend. And ultimately, it won't. I mean, it's a done deal, right? Anchoring itself with humor, on the other hand, or loosening it with a bit of humor, I don't find myself being offended. It's the same with the black and white thing, right? I'm half black, I'm half white. And when I came to Greece, I felt I'd been here before. I didn't know anything about my past lives. I didn't know about Akashic Records, as you say, Akashic. And I'm like, I feel that I've been Sappho, I've been here before. Then I've gone like, okay, I've just tapped into her consciousness maybe. And everyone's going, yeah, you're just having one of those Venus returns or Saturn returns or one of them. I'm like, okay, do I really want to be linked to Saturn?
Yeah. So yes, the answering somebody in the chat room, 0 Point Time, 0 Point Calendar. I created that with Natalie, and we launched off a series of shows with it.
I'm not sure what that is. Is that nothing to do with the 13?
the moon, the lunar calendar, etc. Yes. Anyways, but that was 2013, 2014, in a different era of my presentation history. And it was a great experience. It was a great experience, but I saw the toxicity destroying the community inside, and I got out before it imploded on itself. And thank God I did.
I think when you
things are.
When you're awakened like you at 9 years old, it's amazing. It is amazing because you've had your whole life to learn and grow. And I think sometimes people pick up and go, "Oh God, this is just too much. I can't do it. I can't live in integrity."
What was puberty like then? Being in that
shitty.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, most people probably go through puberty and then they do the wake up thing. Oh, but if you do it pre-wake up and then go through puberty, like, oh man.
What if you've been in the black box being stared at like Skinner's cat? Then what?
Doesn't matter to me. Is that too conceptual? They look at me all the time. I just don't look back. Or if I do, I poke them in the eye.
You have a very special place that you go, don't you? You said with your waiting room. Yeah. And I wondered whether you know about these crystal baths.
I have more than one waiting room.
Yeah, no. I'm not going to say anymore. I wouldn't personal probe that, okay? Yeah. But I was waiting in your waiting room yesterday morning, or was it later today? You see, it's early for you there, isn't it? Here it's 11:30 at night.
It's 6:30 here, yeah.
Yeah.
8:30 here. So.
Okay, so whatever time. Andrew, I know you've got a million things in your mind, and that's cool. And your other fellow, I forget your name. I'm so sorry. It's rude of me.
Monty, as in Monty Python.
Monty, you sound more funny today. Sometimes it's like forced your humor, you guys. It's all a little bit analyst. Oh, what's the word? I'm sounding critical, but it's not a judgment. It's just a pure observation in terms of how my vibration feels. It feels like we're going to go around in a circle of 1984ness rather than getting solution-based humor, perhaps, or irony.
It's like we're mining comedy, and so sometimes we hit a seam and we've hit comedy gold and diamond. Other times we're going through all the slurry, but we're there.
Yeah. But it's like being on stage. Not everyone's going to laugh at every joke.
Yeah, that's fun.
Okay.
But when there's a unified consciousness, they could sing to a song, or they could.
But it's not a unified consciousness. It's not a unified consciousness.
Oh, but you can. Trust me, you can. In a moment. A snapshot moment in time. Well, I can beg to disagree. I can beg.
No, I was not talking about that. I'm saying in general, it is not a unified consciousness.
Depends on your level of perspective, no?
Yeah, but if we're talking humanity, everyone's still.
It depends if you're from one down. Look, if you're on the ground floor looking up, no. But if you're on the top floor looking down, well, yeah. So
are you on the top floor?
Am I personally on the top floor? It depends which floor I choose to go into.
Okay. So
yeah,
to answer the question,
I use the analogy of a glass lift. You say elevator. I use the analogy of a glass lift. So obviously, when you're on the second floor, it's a bit like on the third floor.
The top floor doesn't have dimension, space, or space.
There's never an ending, is there?
No,
there's never an ending. Exactly.
There's no spatial
language, like you would agree with, and I agree with you with this. It's a fucking barrier.
Yes, it's your limitation.
I'm talking about resonance.
And the word
frequency.
unity is its own limitation. And the word unity.
So have you ever done laughter yoga? You ever done laughter yoga?
I've done laughter shamanism with the Heyokas.
Me too, in my own way. Different to you, but same.
Oh, I've done it with the worst of the worst Heyokas, where they're doing some mean, awful pranks during ceremony. Mean.
This is where
I'm talking getting to the mean levels.
Imp. Same way. Sometimes you've got to be a bit of a leprechaun or a bit of an imp. Mm-hmm. But seriously, you can have a laugh, but with music.
The best is when you catch it. The best is when you catch a Heyoka doing it and you scare them back.
Mm-hmm. I did that a bit earlier on today, but I had a judder in my physical body. I would like another time. I'll come on when you're doing regular sort of call-ins, and I'll ask for additional things that would help. Because I got where are they? They've just arrived today.
All right, Darren, thanks for calling in. We're gonna continue on with our competition. You call back another time, all right?
That's the colon cleanse. It's starting.
Go look at the bear shit.
I love Weird Al Yankovic, the way that he applies comedy and music, where there seems to be a joke every line, and there's such comedic mastery. He's a master at doing that. And he's been going for over 40 years. He keeps winning Grammys. No one else can do the same thing he does.
No one can do it. And some of his stuff are like when he redid Michael Jackson's song "Beat It to Eat It."
Mhm.
Oh my God, that to me back then it crowned him as the king of comedy, musical comedy.
Michael liked him. He actually, Fat, the video,
Mhm.
that is all the same actors and the same set. Michael got everyone in there
Yep.
to do it. And that's why it's so exact, because Michael loved because he could see the humor in it.
Well, the thing is, Weird Al never remade a song if the person didn't approve of it.
Yes, that's why he never used Prince.
Yes.
And he was kind of upset about that. Amish Paradise, he was told he could do it, and then Coolio came out and started giving him grief. And he's like, well, I thought I could, and it's one of his biggest hits.
Yes, Amish Paradise was fucking hilarious. Hilarious.
Oh, that foil instead of royal, that's almost disclosure, because when he researches something, he really researches something. I think I even learned I learned new stuff from that, where he's just taking the piss out of conspiracy, and then certain people in conspiracy world's like, no, he's telling the truth.
Yeah. And Santa,
Especially
you're right, white nerdy would be canceled today.
Yeah, because it's all about racism and
So Monty, let's touch on taking the piss out of some of the modern newsy subjects today.
All right, where do you want to start? Because you just
clown. You have dubbed it Clown World. So all the clowns have assembled with their makeup, and they're getting in and out of their little clown cars. And what clown would you like to talk about first?
Oh, I want to do, let's hit both sides of the political spectrum, left wing, right wing, which is the brain. I find myself, I defend Trump only because I'm tired of everyone just attacking Trump and not the other side. I'm 50-50 with Trump. It's like, he's there for a reason, but I wouldn't vote for him. But then the only option you have in this moment of now is Joe Biden. And he's just comedy gold. Where someone put on Twitter, 2008, yes we can. 2016, I'm with her. 2020, who are you? That's the Democratic.
Who are you exactly? I forgot who I'm running against. 2020.
Yeah, I think I can beat Joe Biden. You are Joe Biden. What are you talking about? Oh, and he also said he can beat Ronald Reagan at the next election. Of course you will. He's dead. Oh, and another of his gaffes is we have to re-elect Donald Trump. I think all these speechwriters. Oh,
they should have underlined it and put it in red.
Yeah, it's just do you want a creepy old man as your president, or do you want a creepy old man as your president? It's really weird.
They're two different kinds of creep, though.
I know. Yeah. They're in the creep union, but one's Taoist and the other one's Taoist.
Creep Taoist.
Yeah. And I think he wants to masks will be mandatory. It's how is he going to sniff anyone's hair?
It'll just make it even more freaky.
Yeah, it's he'll probably just breathe in a lot and then pass out.
He'll pull his mask down. Come here so I can sniff you.
Yeah. And with all the police brutality and the systemic racism, he said, his quote is, the government has failed you, but you've been in government for 47 years. What?
So the comedy of Clown World goes so far that the mainstream media has become clown media on both sides. And, I every now and then I'll put on Fox News and I'll compare it back and forth to CNN. And they're so diametrically opposed on absolutely everything.
Yes.
That it's reached a point of pure hilarity for me when I look at it. And one of the things that now they're trying to get Tucker Carlson to run for president in 2024.
Yep. Well, there was an let's get The Rock in. Okay,
Yes.
like he. Can you imagine the debates? Bam, take that.
He actually said he would do a naming thing. He wouldn't run, but if people put his name in, he would take it.
Okay, yeah, I'm more from the Brewster's Millions movie with Richard Pryor, which is a remake of I think it was in the 1940s, and strangely enough, Richard Pryor's character is called Monty, and so I connect with that movie quite well. But because he had to spend in the movie, it's the mid 80s, and John Candy's in it, and he's brilliant. And the whole idea is for him to inherit $300 million. He has to spell. What am I talking about?
And
He has to thank me speaking good. He spends $30 million in a month in 1986. And if you can imagine trying to do that, and he starts his whole political campaign because there's a mayor election for mayor of New York, and he doesn't run, or he does, but he's not at the same time. And it's the whole none of the above. And it's like, is that the political strategy we should go for now?
exactly, that's the political strategy, because right now Trump is sitting on like $250 million of election money, and Biden's like $180 million of election money, but they're about to get a tap of what's basically unlimited corporate money. All the corporations that got bailed out are now going to be putting money into the election scam.
Yeah, it's well, there's instances of people dying, and because of name recognition, they get elected.
That happened twice last election when Trump got elected. 2 dead people got elected.
Yeah, and in the American political world, if your last name's Washington or Jefferson or something like that, they could be a pedophile or anything. Like you'll run. You've got name recognition. It's like, why can't we just judge someone on their merit?
Clown world doesn't do that.
Oh yeah, I know. It's all part of the narrative, and that's the fun part of this year. Where, like, as you say, I haven't really said it to many people because they'll look at me strangely or throw bricks at me. But COVID, the gift that keeps on giving.
Yes,
how can you say that?
I say it all the time. COVID, the gift that keeps on giving.
How can you say that? Well, someone pointed out on Twitter, Facebook yesterday that I saw that the wording has changed. It's not COVID deaths. It's there's cases, because the mortality rate means the death. It's like less than 2%.
Yes.
There's been here in Victoria. They're locked down. Someone called it the postcode lottery. There's hotspots, and 10 postcodes are locked down, which is very rare in Australia. It's almost martial law, but they can't call it martial law. And it's like, really? Okay. And I've forgotten why I brought that. Oh, that's right. Yeah. In the same amount of time that you've had COVID in lockdown, I think it's 24 people in the chat. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's very low numbers that people unfortunately have died. It's 24 or 74 something. It's less, but in the same amount of time in Victoria, you've had over 117 people die on the roads, and over 300 people have committed suicide. And you can't.
I have to counter this with one thing. The reason Australia is surviving now is because the cruise ship industry was shut down, and all the big cruise ship cities would have been bringing in people left and right from February to April over there. Easily have 500,000 people bringing COVID in. And
yes,
that's why the Greek Isles and the Greek communities, so wherever there was heavy duty tourism that was suddenly shut down, there wasn't a gigantic thing. Like, people don't talk about what's going on in Egypt. So Egypt had a gigantic burst, but as soon as the tourism went away, they stopped. All the COVID cases stopped.
Yeah, in South Africa, I think it's nearly 2,500 people have died from COVID. And strangely, I don't know why South Africa's sort of forgotten because I remember I haven't seen the film or the documentary because I don't really want to see all the pain. But like all those white farmers being killed, Laura Sutherland did the doco called Farmlands. And it's if I can expand it out, it's I remember when feminism was about equality, but this third and fourth wave of feminism is about, well, we're just going to act like men and do the whole cycle. They've just changed sides. That's interesting. Where we need to be treated equally, so I'm going to act like a patriarchal man. That's why you've got toxic masculinity. Well, there is toxic feminine as well. Not across the board. Not every woman is toxic, but there's a feminist here in Australia called Clementine Ford who just tweets out "kill all men" and then wonders why she gets in trouble. It's a level of stupidity. Yeah.
I mean, we live in a society where like the word "duh" doesn't surprise people anymore.
No.
Just the power of stupid people in their own home alone is just never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had some mofo experiences with the Akashic Records, and then I'm looking at the stupidity that comes out here going, how are they ever going to achieve unity consciousness? They won't.
No. Well, it's when you've got the media and the political systems they're bouncing from one narrative to the other, and I think it's in California where we have these restrictions now. You need social distancing. You have to wear masks, and if you don't, you'll be heavily penalized and put on jail. And then 20 minutes later, oh look, everyone is protesting with Black Lives Matter, and they're breaking all of it, and they're allowed to do it. So apparently, rioting is the cure to COVID. Which is fascinating.
So what we're getting now is what I call bureaucracy policing.
Mm-hmm.
And in bureaucracy policing, it fosters idiocracy.
Yes.
It just fosters idiocracy. As long as you're playing with the bureaucracy and the policy statements, you are adding to the greater destruction of humankind's capacity to be smart.
Yeah. It's all that red tape and it's just ridiculous. And being a comedian, it's like, I can't write half of this. It's very satire is losing its power because you don't know what is satirical anymore.
Well, that's not even that. It's because it's overdone. Like if you overdo a single song over and over again, people don't want to hear it anymore. When Jon Stewart was doing the Daily Show from 2001 to 2009, it was revolutionary satirical comedy.
Yes.
It isn't anymore. It's 19 years old of a genre that's played itself out.
And they've picked a side as well.
Yes.
They go further in the side, like in the realm of Doctor Who. I'm not a fan of the new stuff because it turns into a lecture where they're telling off the audience for being bad. And then you've got people defending it's like, yeah, but it's always been social justice and all this type of stuff. Yeah, but say in the early 70s with John Pertwee, there was a balance and they showed in basic terms left-right. Yep. And you would see a story and then allow you to think about it and not choose a side, but see what they're trying to portray. What they're doing now is if they've picked a side, got in a taxi and driven for 4 hours, and then that's where the storytelling comes from. It's not even storytelling. It's like, you're a bad person because you do this, instead of showing both sides to actually express a story. Because a good way of writing a villain is the villain thinks they're doing the right thing.
So true. So true. When the villain thinks he's doing the right thing, he's vilified, while the people knowing he's doing wrong. That's the way you write a villain. Yes.
Yeah. Like Darth Vader, like there's a reason he's popular. I mean, he was a slave to the Emperor and everything else like that, but he still thought by bringing peace and balance to the galaxy by being a complete bastard. and the popularity of Thanos, who he wanted to remove half the beings of the universe so it could save the universe.
Right. So if you are listening on Facebook right now and go, I want to be a part of the chat room, I want to be a caller, you got to go to zoom.us. Robert is going to put up some information right there. And all the information for you computer literate people, all you have to do is type in zoom.us, click the enter button, and guess what? You enter that ID number, and you're going to be a part of the chat room. So everyone that's in the chat room right now, we want you to ask, what do you want us to take the piss out of next? If you also want to dial in through your cell phone, all the information is on the right side of the screen. And Robert, leave that up for just a minute, so as people are trying to rapidly go from wherever they're at to over here, they can come to the Zoom room. So Sarah, Monty needs to watch She-Ra, Princess of Power.
Which version? The good version from the 80s where she looks feminine, and that was in tandem with He-Man. But the new one, it got a bit woke. And she looks like, yeah, see, to me, who's that young boy? He's quite handsome.
So everybody Prince Andrew, haha. So everyone that's currently in chat room, you've got something you want us to make fun of, take the piss out of, and to remind everyone, this is our annual bi-monthly Friday comedy show. We let down here, take the seriousness out. If you've got a stick, if you're just joining, going, where's the spiritual stuff? Where's the callers? Where's the galactic history? This is not that show. We intend to offend the show. We also want you to sit back, relax, and allow yourself to feel joy, to feel comedy in a new way. But if you're still one of those serious persons, you might want to just turn it off, because usually at the 1 hour mark, we put it up a little layer and we tend to offend at another layer. All right, everybody, get your offenses down. And what shall we offend next?
Oh.
The status quo. Come on. The status quo. Come on, Cardano.
Funny buggers.
Yes. Taco Bell? It's not really food.
No, we missed all that because you paused. Oh, now my internet connection is unstable. Someone's playing Funny Buggers. Stupid. Anyway, so, well, I'll have to watch the video to see what you said.
Oh, what was it? The status quo. Somebody said, make fun. We are making fun of the status quo all the time.
Why? They're a great band. How dare you? They're still touring. Well, they could, yes.
For everyone, I just got a message from Valerie. I know you got to stick up your ass. Let's pull it out. Come on, Valerie, pull it out. Come on.
Remember the show where we took the piss out of the Greys, which was fantastic and I enjoyed it. I realized, like, if we make fun of all these ascended masters, everything else like that, if they get offended by it, not the audience, but all the ascended masters, they're not really ascended because they know it's just comedy and they're part of all the ones. Just, you know, it's the power of comedy. Oh, did you see Stephen King? Someone mentioned Stephen King taking the piss out of it. He had to go at J.K. Rowling because she has had this stupid idea of women are women, and apparently transgender women. There's a whole thing now that if you're a transgender woman, you're exactly the same as a woman, even though you don't have a uterus and you have a penis. Like, that's like you're fighting nature. Like, I'm not against if you believe you're a woman and you're transitioning and your soul's coming out as a feminine, that's all right, but don't go to a gynecologist. You don't have a uterus, and that's not being that's not me being a prick. That's physical reality. Because if you're a man and you're bleeding from the groin, you're not having a period, you need to see a doctor. I'm just putting it out there.
But with modern stage magic, you'd be surprised how many could have a period.
Yeah, I know, but still, it's yeah. If you've had a hysterectomy, you're still a woman, but because they're trying to change the language now, where I'm not a male, I create sperm, and people who menstruate. Oh, you mean women? This is the whole political correctness, and they're trying, how the language is a barrier. They're even twisting that the language where you have to talk stupidity.
Oh boy. I just got like 45 private messages in a row. Oh, clown world. Even in the chat room, we've got clown world. Everybody's make fun of the Babylonian money magic system. No. Oh, it's so easy to do that.
Scarecrow.
All right, everybody. If you want to tell us a joke, tell us something funny, add to the comedy scenario, go ahead to the participants button and click raise your hand.
I think we have a couple of those, but Patricia said free will, and it's like, well, free will, we don't have to make fun of that. It's just funny to start with. It's like, I have free will. I'm just going to do the same thing every day for 20 years.
And we've got one person raise their hand. Wow, one person, two people with courage to raise their hand.
You sound like the Count from Sesame Street. One person, two persons,
I used to, on Rev Radio, I used to do that when the caller wouldn't answer. One, two, three, you're gone. Next.
I think someone in the last 12 months they put up they've actually got when they lost $20 trillion or something like that. We have an expert to come in and actually help out the fiscal management, and it's the Count.
Yes.
let me help you out. One secret space program. Two secret space programs.
All right, Robert, let's unmute Steven and see what comical genius he can present to us. Steven, are you there?
Hello?
Hi, where are you
Hello.
calling from? Where are you calling from?
I'm in Oceanside, California.
Oceanside, California. Welcome to the show. What comical genius do you have to present to us?
I don't know. You guys sound like Stanislavski and Chekhov.
Oh, Mr. Philosophical with his stuff.
What, the guy from Star Trek? Sorry, wrong Chekhov.
Right. That guy was a Russian, I think.
Yes.
So the comedy world in England, or you're from Australia?
Mm-hmm.
I watched Trigonometry, which is a couple comedians from England.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the guys grew up in Russia and several other countries.
Yes.
So the English guy says a lot of comedians are getting canned for saying like one word wrong, or dressing the like one word like racism can get you thrown out or something.
Yeah. I think I actually watched an interview with is it Chris or Colin? I know the gentleman you're talking about. I haven't really seen much of his humor, but he's very intelligent. I saw a podcast he did with John Anderson, who is an it's not deputy prime minister of Australia. And he was pointing out in the last 12 months, you couldn't say a joke about Stalin at all, and you'll be sent to the gulags. But in England, the people have posted on social media, and I think 3,000 people have been visited by the police for posting a joke on on Twitter and something like that. This is England, which is supposed to be a free country.
And who
that's
they
sort
speak against?
Oh, they probably just said
no. It was against the Queen, and there were laws to speaking jokes against the Queen. But still there from the 1880s.
Yeah, because you can't knock authority. But there's other stuff. One of the first cases of it is Count Dankula, a gentleman who has a wife, and she owns a small pug dog. and she loves and said he's the cutest thing ever. And being a Scottish comedian, he's thought, well, how can I make him not cute? And so he teaches the dog to do a Nazi salute, and he put it on his YouTube channel, and it went viral, and he actually went to prison for that, for making a dog put his hand up.
Right. It's like take a knee or take a salute. I don't know which is right or wrong, but it seems like they have pictures of people doing both. So it seems hypocritical either way you go. So
Oh yeah,
the point of it is, but I know
it's,
that civil rights has become a major issue, but I don't feel I owe reparations for me being white, or the fact that I had to grow up in LA and the civil rights. So I knew about plenty of black people that going through a lot of stuff. And, you know, they talk about this or that, but there's always like Vietnam in my mind, or LSD, or whatever the next war was after that, or then 9/11, or whatever traumatic event will happen next. You know, it's like the stuff I hear probably isn't comedic. So I'll let you take it away.
well, how far do we go back about slavery? Because my family is mainly British, and we were turned into slaves by the Romans. So should I try and get some money out of the Italian government? Like, how far back do you want to go?
That's what I mean. They want to get rid of Gone with the Wind, or, you know, that's like my personal family history. So then they can erase like this technology. Someone has a book out about what really happened in 9/11, or what's really going on with Black Lives Matter, or what happened in Seattle, or what the news is saying constantly. That's why I listen to you guys and trigonometry, because that's where I only get any sense of some kind of lightening up in the situation.
Well, basically what we're doing, and I'm sure Andrew will agree, is we're not in the global narrative. So what you sort of explained there is that there's a small group of people who are trying to keep domination in control, and they need a narrative for everyone to walk that path. And there's people like us who don't want to do that, because I can see if it's done naturally, we could have a one world government and we could have unity and everyone working together. But the globalists are putting forward a false reality of that, and they're forcing it into 1984, the book. And that's why people are reacting to it, because it doesn't feel natural. And instead of lifting everyone up when everyone's awesome, they're dragging everyone down. Where, you know, you live in a concrete box and you get 3 supplement mush each day, and you can't have everyone wears the same clothing, and you're not allowed to think. And like the movie V for Vendetta, 1984, all these movies showing which, you know, from conspiracy world, oh, that's pre-programming in a way, but also it could be a warning, you know. It's and Andrew, let's talk about victimhood, because that's sort of what was like, you know, slavery was 300 years ago, and there's people still complaining about today. They've never been a slave. White people have never owned slaves, and they ignore actual slavery on the planet today. I like making fun of Hillary Clinton because what she helped do to Libya, where
everything is we're now debt slaves.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so when we realize that we're debt slaves to a government that wants to create debt for debt's purpose, we are still slaves.
Yeah.
We just have a bigger yard to work with.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Still slaves. It's just everyone's enslaved. It's not one class of people now.
Yeah, it's all of humanity. And what are we seeing? Because the system seems to be collapsing. Is it the old systems run out of steam, and so they're trying to bring in a new system to keep the plantation going?
Well, it's not even a plantation anymore. It's a corptocracy running the kleptocracy. Okay. And the plantations have been replaced by the corptocracy, which is stealing from us. It's the kleptocracy stealing from us. It's the idiocracy running the mediocrity.
Yeah, which is interesting. Yeah, because that Mike Judd, who created that film, he said it was supposed to be a comedy, but it's turning into a documentary.
Right. And being a debt slave is the most insidious form of slavery because we perceive freedom. We beat our chest freedom, but none of us are free.
Oh yeah, especially like
until such a time you go through the self-mastery journey of personal sovereignty and then realize you have more freedom now than you did 300 years ago. Life was worthless 300 years ago. They didn't want to spend the money on a bullet to kill you.
Yeah.
Okay? They'd rather pay the hourly wage for one person to kill 50 people than to use 50 bullets.
Well, that's how slavery shifted. Like the name slavery is like, you're not allowed to keep slaves. Okay, but we'll keep the workforce and they have to buy from the company's store. And right. So instead of
just switched terminologies.
Yeah, and instead of say where we own slaves and we have to house them and feed them and clothe them, let's make them free and they earn money and they have to buy all their food, their housing, and their clothing, and they'll buy it from us.
Right. The Irish miners that came to the United States were just as enslaved as the people that were brought from Africa, just a different form of it. And even after slavery ended, they still owed everything to the company store.
Yeah. And there were free blacks that owned slaves as well during that time.
Correct.
So yes, that's true. And it's just not one. They try and simple it down, and that's part of the PC wokeness of you can't go against the narrative because like white man bad. Well, who freed the slaves? Well, white people did. So and how did you get those slaves? They were sold to us by who? Black people.
So I'm gonna make a statement here based off of the Joker, Jack Nicklaus. This world needs an enema.
Wet and wild, Jerry. Wet and wild.
This world needs an enema. It needs to get rid of some of its shit. It's holding on to the traumas of the past. Okay, we get that now. But ultimately, what can an individual human being do to affect change? There are a limited number of subject matters which they can do to affect change. Well, self-help motivation teacher, healer, musician, so on and so forth, run for politics without getting yourself corrupt. Other than that, what's left? Facebook posting doesn't do anything. And I know all of you out there going, yes, my Facebook posts make a difference. No, they don't. They never did. That's your delusion.
A good example of that is when the wokeness gets into entertainment. You've got everyone going, this is awesome. We've got representation. Did you buy any merchandise? No. And so things that they don't make the money. Their audience shrinks down, but they're getting woke points. And so that's sort of like the posting's like, well, I'm helping freeing humanity from slavery because I posted 18 times today and all my friends in my echo chamber agree with me.
Right, because all that echo chamber is keeping them hearing their own words over and over, and there's only yes people around them.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the mob of idiots so potent and powerful, because they're just surrounded by a bunch of yesers.
Yeah, and it's interesting where, like, if you meet one human being, their IQ could be 160, but as more people join the group, the IQ seems to go down. Is it just one brain cell and they're all sharing it at the same time?
So I want to answer Lillian's question, but I'm on social media. Yes, my posts don't make a difference into the greater scheme of the world. They make a difference to the individuals who come and listen to them.
Yeah, you're putting out a frequency.
I've known that since day one when I was asked to become a public speaker by the forces that I said, hey, you can't do this privately anymore. We need you to elevate yourself.
Well, and by broadcasting that frequency, people find you on their dial.
Right.
For say that, yeah. And so the people that come to you are the people that come to you instead of trying to, go on Alan and it's like, hey, look, Galactic historians. Like, well, I'm here for people it's the same, in a way, the same thing. I'm not here to wake people up anymore. I'm here to make people who've just woken up laugh. And we can talk about that, the levels of awakening.
I'm not here to really awaken people. I'm here to tell them that you have to awaken on your own self on your own time. I'm not here to save humanity. Humanity has to save itself on its own individually.
Yeah.
That's been what I've said since day one. And that makes it very hard because conspiracy world's telling you it's happening tomorrow. Just follow the plan. Wait till tomorrow.
The pedophiles have been arrested. Trust the plan, and Galactic is going to land, and it's like tomorrow. But we're in today,
right?
And there is that that massive shift of. I'm sure there's connection to the self mastery. Is that you can explain of like what happens to one piece of the puzzle is that you have to get rid of the central banks to get out of debt slavery. And there could be a trickle down effect. But as you've said, we need one way of expressing it is thousands of people protesting the right thing peacefully at the same time on the streets where the controllers can see that shift.
Thousands is nowhere near enough.
Millions.
It has to be millions and millions in every major city for months in a row.
Yeah.
And I've said this since the first day that I came out. Until you want to know if there's going to be change, until you see people out on the same scale and size of the 1960s and 70s in the millions and millions, there is no change happening. When you see that millions and millions for months and months, even during the winters, change is happening. Until such a time, it's not about giving up. It's about evolving yourself. So when the times of change come, you can be in that group and help the hotheads cool down.
Yeah, I use if you remember the TV show Heroes, the first season, the slang was save the cheerleader, save the world. And you save yourself, you save the world. And it's in a way it makes sense. But tapping into your power and just working through what you're blocking you and everything else like that, you realize your reality bubble changes. And you step, like, for me, major part is still stepping out of the global narrative, which is kind of hard because I have to watch it to make fun of it. But it's like Bill Hicks has got a great routine. Like, you watch CNN, death, war, famine, AIDS, death, war, famine, AIDS. Then you look out your window. Where's all this shit happening? I mean, it's different now, but he did that in the 90s. I know that there's crap in the background, but my main, I mean, I'm a hermit. I only leave the house to go buy food. But apart from seeing one or two more masks, everything's roughly the same. And I don't worry about all this, I may offend someone. And I'm a victim. I need things. Like the idea of apparently rioting is protesting. No, rioting is a crime. Arson, assault, theft. I'm protesting.
Exactly. Protesting. I mean, Martin Luther King would be rolling over in his grave if he saw the people rioting next to the protesters.
Yeah,
and those protesters have to have the gall to take a stick and hit the rioter in the ass and get out of here.
Yeah. It's like, and he's Martin had this strange idea of judging someone on their merit.
Yeah, what a novel idea.
Yeah, because apparently the NFL they're going to start playing 2 national anthems at their games, which is the National Football League for those Anthrax fans. And are we heading towards segregation again, where everything's split? Because that's sort of where
fractalization.
Yeah.
Where things are going to be broken into genres and not segregated via race and color. That's why LGBTQ is starting to evolve the way that it is.
And you'll find this amusing. It's happening in the entertainment world where people who do voices for different colors. So a white guy like Cleveland from the Family Guy, the guy that's been doing that for over 20 years, has resigned because he wants to give a black actor a chance to do a black voice. And someone's actually said that as well. Like, if we're going to have Chinese people on a show, you need to have a writer who's Chinese. And I can see what, they're all fractalizing instead of like, it's called acting.
Well, again, that's why I use the word fractalization into the genres. And the genres will split into subgenres and subgenres into subgenres.
Yeah.
But that divide and conquer system, when you allow divide and conquer to be what it is, you can find your individuality, and then you've beaten divide and conquer by understanding your individuality.
Yeah, I'm unique like everyone else.
Yes. What is the Tyler Durden quote? You are not a beautiful and unique snowflake.
Oh. It's very Monty Python in Life of Brian. We're all different. I'm not. Shh.
Exactly. We're all different. I'm not. Shh. Exactly.
The band Tool, they actually did that, and they've got 15,000 people in front of them. I repeat after me, I am an individual, and they all did it. The band pissed themselves.
Again, when you have that crowd control and you're able to make that form of realization.
Yeah. And it's interesting too with the woke celebrities or Pedo Wood or Hollywood or whatever, they're missing that energy thing of love or payment. And so, like, Will Smith's got a YouTube channel now, and Brie Larson started up her own YouTube channel. Like, are you that craved for attention?
Because they can't go out and do acting gigs, and they can't go and do what the next movie they're going to get. And it's gives them, the yes part of it is they need to be seen, but they're actors. They have a brand, and they have publicists that are next to them going, your movie's been canceled for 2021. You got to make sure your face is out there, or nobody's going to want to use you, Blondie.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to get replaced by the next thing.
Yeah, that's the that whole marketing, the disposable society that we're in, which is all part of that. Now, this is fake economic growth, isn't it? Because of the way the debt slavery, it always has to grow and it has to get bigger, and we need to feed more and feed.
That's why they imploded the housing market the way that they did, and they made it so everyone felt they had great amounts of wealth when in fact they don't. You know, that 1-bedroom house in San Francisco that sold for $4 million wasn't worth more than 60 in all reality.
Yeah.
Okay. And houses all over the world are like that. But it gave that false sense of security that you weren't a debt slave.
Yeah, I can see why Galactics look at us and go, like, what, you pay rent on the planet you were born on? It's like, yeah.
And then you pay taxes too. You pay for water and electricity.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and for me, I find it not disheartening, but I find it fascinating in authentic as well as curious learning of how we're going to jump from here to there, and I guess that's why it keeps me going. It's to see how we get from shithole to, I nearly said glory hole. That's wrong. Shithole to oh, hello. That's a strange toilet roll holder. To basically heaven, a form of heaven, if that makes sense. It's not the heaven, but like the reality that the mainstream media puts forward. That sounds awesome. We don't have that. But you know, on a 3D level, if the system actually worked, or the way they said it worked. I mean, it works the way that it does, but you know what I mean? Where, like pure capitalism, you wouldn't have homeless people, if that makes sense.
No, there always will be homeless people.
Okay.
There's even in the times of the greatest society, there were people that just chose to live on the street.
Yeah. See, that's because like when you explain it to people now, what about free will? Well, we live in a free will universe, in a free will galaxy, in a free will solar system, and a free will world.
Yes.
Why does this keep happening to me? Maybe
because it's free will.
It's free will. Just putting it out there.
So the journey to understanding free will is a challenge for a lot of people. And ultimately the forces that are out there are waiting for us to accept the totality of what free will means, and then begin to incorporate it into our daily journeys and lives. And ultimately that's what they're not looking for, the political representation of freedom. They're looking for how the individuals have created and affected change in their own life. And that will ultimately determine what level of affect or effect they want to have here.
Yeah, I like the planet Earth's in quarantine. One theory is they're trying to keep the pure actual evil entities to get off. And it's like, well, that makes sense. They're in a cage, but also I look at humanity. It's like, no, we're not going out there yet, because a lot of collectors like leave that toddler back. No, go back in your box. It's with the stuff where most people have problems just trying to pick a book or something. But can you imagine us forming out into the galaxy? How we are right now? I can see why people are like, no, not yet. we'll let you out of your little what's the toddler cage? When you put a baby in a cage thing.
Cage.
Well, they've got the
a crib. A crib.
Well, no, not the crib. When they're unless when it's in the middle of the lounge room and there's
play
like the bars.
The playpen.
There you go. I've got a cat. She sleeps 18-hour day. Why do I need to put her in a playpen? Yeah. You don't want to put the young baby behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler truck. A bit of a jump. So I can see why we sort of need to slowly expand, or remember, depending on where we're at.
Put a baby in a cage. That's really funny. It is a cage. It is a cage.
That's what I mean.
It is a pen.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the free range children today. Yeah.
You have a little zapper collars on them next.
Yeah, I can see, if we had provocateurs in the chat, it's like, I'm going to clip that. That guy wants to put babies in cages. You've been doing it since however long, And the baby leash, that's not demeaning, is it?
Oh my God. I have so many baby leash stories. When I was 18, I worked at a coffee shop in a mall, and I was a manager, and so I had to do a whole bunch of stuff. And I would see like the first sets of leashes coming out. So they got like a harness around them and like something that looks like a spiral phone cord. And the kid would run full blast, and then they'd run out of room and they'd fall down. Or they'd run in between people's legs and trip 25, 30 people over at once. Those things need to be outlawed. They are so dangerous for the parents and the kids and everyone else.
Yeah, if I ever see one, I'm going to go up and say, is that your attack child? Is that why it's on a leash?
I just remembered another mall story. So it was nearing Christmas time, so it must have been right in the beginning of 1st or 2nd of December. So all it is playing Christmas carols morning till night, annoying as hell. Yep. And the position of our coffee shop was like right next to the door to the food court. Like if you're coming from the parking lot, and then there's our coffee shop, and then the entire food court's a big circle around it. And so there's a whole bunch of kids who've just got their stuff. They've got a whole bunch of shopping stuff. And a police officer with a drug dog comes in, and it's very common. He just comes in and walks around, and the dog goes right up to a kid and right up to his ankle and pulls out a bag of weed from the kid's ankle.
And that's why the guy with the dog goes in and does that.
Exactly. And the cop didn't come there to pay. I mean, again, it was really common for the cop to just come in and walk around with a dog.
Yeah.
He went right up to the kid with a bag of weed in his sock.
Being Australian, it is fascinating celebrating Christmas because we can have like 38-degree days Celsius during our summer because it's the height of summer. And so businesses spray snow on their windows. And so, if Santa Claus, they're fat and all woolly and scarves and wearing shorts and flip-flops or thongs or jandals, whatever part of the world you are. And then, it's what's 40 degrees in Fahrenheit, probably over 100 in over Fahrenheit.
100, like 104.
And so we eat a roast beef dinner. It's like, we're celebrating Christmas. It's like you're celebrating the northern. It's the winter solstice in like it's strange. It's very topsy turvy in this country because we've got that whole British European background. Like, there's more Greeks here than in Greece.
So somebody just said, my son accidentally pulled a bag of pot out of his pocket in front of me and sincerely said, it's not mine. Ha ha. I have a few other mall stories. So in 1998, do you remember the StarTech phone from Motorola? The first real flip phone?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Antenna. So they just made that. It was a $200 phone. It was really cheap and it allowed a lot of people to go and get a phone. And I started noticing people walking into the mall and out talking on their phone. I'm like, oh, this is going to evolve into something disastrous. And within a month and a half of this phone coming out, I saw probably 100 people walk face first into the glass door.
Yeah.
Okay. And then about 2 months later, the mall decided to fix its entrance and make revolving doors because the amount of people that were seriously injuring themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, seriously injuring themselves. So they decided to put a little like pool thing there with some plants and stuff around it. And it just had like this little 1 foot raise above it.
Yeah.
What do you think happened as they started coming out of the door? Poof, right into the pool.
Oh, yeah.
Right into the pool.
And so this is about 20 years ago you're talking
This
about?
would have been 1998. Yeah.
Yeah, 22 years ago.
Yeah.
Flash forward 20 years later here in Melbourne, because everyone's looking at their phone. They're
Right.
staring. They're bowing down to their electronic god. In a couple of intersections in Melbourne, they actually have, the blind have those bumps at places. Yeah.
Yep.
These ones change color.
Oh.
Yeah, so instead of the walking signal's not at eye height, it's below your feet. So you can walk and then, it's red, so you stop. So you don't have to look up. That's the level of humanity that we're dealing with, people. It's
Right. So another mall story. So as the amount of people that were running into the glass doors or falling into the pool began evolving. So this is maybe 6 months, 8 months after that phone went on sale. So everyone has them. And you would see people that were on their phone, but they really weren't out. They're faking being on their phone and just watching people. And like the coffee shop I worked at, we had some very beautiful girls and guys also that were young. And you'd see these soccer moms pretending to be on their phone, looking at this guy, poof, right into the water. Right into the water.
I sort of do something different, like because we're in the same year, born in the same year. I wonder if that's telling spiritually. But you would have had the joy of the Walkman as it came in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll go deaf. We can't hear you. It's dangerous. Look at everyone on their phones now.
Yeah.
Like I just walk around listening to music, mainly so people won't talk to me.
So we would have during the busy times, we'd have 10-hour shifts at the coffee shops, and we'd take a bet. Everybody put like $5 or $6 on how many people were going to fall into the water and break into the glass.
And the mall, or we call them shopping centers here in Australia, same thing. They would have a crack legal team, and they would be covered so up their ass. Like, well, it's clearly marked. It's in front of you. It's like, I'm going to sue. What? That you're an idiot?
Oh, that reminds me. Actually, probably a year after they put in that pool thing, a legal team came and you could tell that they were talking about what to do to change and all this stuff. Yeah. And the guy came over to me because he saw us laughing and stuff and just wanted to know how many people we've seen. And we've like hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds. And there's so many that are unreported and people that were injured pretty bad that we had to call the ambulance for.
Yeah.
So ultimately what they decided is to take the pool out and just make it completely open. They did that to all the doors.
Yeah, that would make sense. It reminds me of when you see a toddler or a 5-year-old when they hurt themselves and they look around to see if an adult's watching.
Somebody saw it, yeah. And if nobody saw it.
Yeah. Is that free will of like, I've hurt my leg. I can turn off the pain receptors and sort of control that. Oh, someone saw it. All right, let's tap into that nervous system and just rip out the pain.
But we would see the mall do some of the dumbest things. I mean, just the most dumbest things that people would get hurt on.
Mm.
It's like, oh, that's a great idea. Let's take a pool right in front of a door with a 1-foot lip.
Well, that's the humanity. Like you're aware of the Darwin Awards.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I don't know if it's true or not. I don't care. It's a good story. I don't think they won, which I find fascinating. But there's one guy who wanted to kill himself, and so he buys a gun, gets a rope, gets some pills, goes up to a cliff, and he ties the rope around a tree and puts the rope around his neck. He takes the pills so he can overdose. Puts the shotgun in his mouth, and then he jumps off the cliff. What do you think happened?
He lived.
No. He shoots the rope, falls down into the water, throws up the pills, and dies of hypothermia 2 weeks later. Now, I don't know if it's true or not. It sounds like an urban thing, but still, that's the level we're talking about. Where the way that programs are done, like the Tide Pod challenge, which I think I blanked that out, but the idea is what you bite into it and see what happens or something. But kids today. And there's been other ones like the ice bucket challenge, and like from Clown World, Conspiracy World, people make the observation like the controllers are laughing their ass off. It's like we've made them put ice water buckets, pour them over their heads, and instead of that's sort of like petitions that like my Facebook posts like, well, I sign my name, so that's it. Like I'm trying to think of what. They're removing like Aunt Jemima or all this stuff where they're was it the lay of the land or something of the land? They took the Native American off the packaging of something.
Land O'Lakes,
yeah, Land O'Lakes, yeah. And someone put up a meme. It's like that is so like the white man. They get rid of the native but kept the land. But that's like we'll stop racism. Everyone, racism is over. We've removed here in Australia we've got candy or lollies, Redskins changing the name because that may be offensive, and like the brown jelly babies, they're called Chicos. Oh, that's offensive to Mexicans. Well, we're in a different friggin' hemisphere. And I don't think any Mexican here is mentioned in it. And I think Chico means child. And so, yeah. Also, apparently, if you're bilingual, you're racist because that's cultural appropriation. If you learn Spanish in the United States, you're a racist.
Like by the small minority of idiots that are enforcing that ideology.
Yeah. Like the whole idea with we're cisgender men, whatever that means.
More garbage made up by garbage personalities.
Yeah, so you're like, I like so we're male. I find it interesting. If someone has to go like have you heard of the social commentator Blair White? She's transgender. She looks so hot. But she transgender for me. If you wait till you're 21, go through puberty, figure out who you are, and if you still want to do the change, go ahead. Do a lot of research. She actually is against getting 3-year-olds hormone blockers because some people one day it's a 3-year-old boy. I want to be a girl. The next day, I want to be a unicorn. It's just why? Because it's like saying, so you disagree with God, nature, and yourself.
But that's being three, though.
Yeah, I know. So, but I do understand if it's their journey. But yeah, for me, I would say over 21. If you're over 21, you should be able to do whatever you want to your body within reason.
I'm not saying anything else.
He sets him up, he shoots, and the ball flies past Andrew.
That's it. Not adding to that.
Yeah, because I find it interesting. Everyone is going through their own experience, but it's when they come for the children, like as we've mentioned before, like the rise of pedophilia. Because apparently pedophiles want to be lumped in with the LGBTQA 6, whatever the friggin' are. It's like, yeah, love is love. No, that's rape, sir. Why is an 8-year-old has to do? Yeah, that's the other part where they're teaching 8-year-olds oral sex. Why? Sex shouldn't be anywhere near children.
Exactly.
I know. I'm a traditionalist.
I
Kind of weird.
I want to say why I didn't want to add to that line, and there's two reasons. All too often, humanity wants to educate people to an ideology, and all too often that ideology is ignorant. And after a while, the ignorant ideology is reinterpreted by the next ignorant generation trying to teach people its ignorant ways. And we have this over and over and over and over and over again throughout all the philosophies and ideologies. There's more than enough teachings and general logic for humanity to straighten itself out, but it doesn't. It repeats and regurgitates the ignorance over and over and over again. No matter what I say, it will be reinterpreted by the ignorant few who try to make it to the ignorant masses.
Yeah.
Thus, why individuality and sovereignty is the most important thing anyone can do for the general awakening.
And I think I can say it because then I can say I'm just ignorant. It's like, oh, I was trying to be funny. I don't mean it. So that's why I usually, with doing shows, it usually comes out as a question, not a statement.
Yeah, but you do it through satire, which has its nature behind it. But all too often, I'm in a serious interview and that comes up. Okay.
Yeah, that's like, oh, okay, we've been talking for 45 minutes about sovereignty and he made a joke. I'm not sure how to take this.
Exactly. Or either exactly, or I'll say some things that, like I'll turn on the skill to super high level and the interview will be like, well, I do that for a variety of reasons. One, to test the person's listening or not, and if they have a cognitive function or not. But then again, I make statements that I see all the time. Wait, repeat what you just said. Listen to what I'm saying. Why do I need to repeat what I just said?
Yeah. Tracy in the chat, I had a joke about Siri versus Alexa. My Alexa joke, or Siri, is a father comes home to his family and said, the government's listening in us and big tech's listening in us. And his wife said, don't be silly, and laughed. That's not real. That's not possible. I laughed. She laughed. My son laughed. Siri laughed. Alexa laughed.
Exactly.
Like even Samsung with one of their TVs, it's in the manual. Things recorded by the microphone on the television may be sent to third parties.
Yes.
Like, oh, I'm sorry, what?
Why do televisions need microphones?
Humans are lazy, so they can actually try and use voice. Well, we kind of know why, so they can record everything. Let's see. I want to see if I can use the algorithm for everyone listening to their computer. Fishing rods, and get back to me to see how many fishing rod ads come up on your Facebook.
But whenever I finish shows with any show, all my ads change.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that. Okay, all my ads change.
Yeah.
And they reflect what I talk about on the show.
I've done that where
the other day I talked about hypnotherapy. All my ads changed to hypnotherapy ads.
Canoes, just trying to freak the algorithm out. Yeah, even with Facebook, like you sent me a video by somebody, and I watched it. Was like, oh yeah, fair enough. He hasn't gone away. Like,
yes.
He's always like, it's in the algorithm. Like, I don't care.
Every now and then I'll game the YouTube algorithm, and I'll go and watch a bunch of videos about World War I and World War II guns. These are like 5 and 7 minute. It's about a gun historian, and then all of a sudden they'll think I'm a right wing gun guy, and then I'll go and watch a bunch of videos on Democrats, and then it'll change, and then it can't figure me out.
I saw an article. I don't know if it's true. See, we don't know what's parody and satirical anymore. But a YouTuber who I think plays chess and talks about chess had his video removed because he mentioned black versus white.
So Lana, my YouTube does not have Trump ads. it's being sold to you based off of what you watch. That's how the algorithm works. It's what you watch. It's reflecting, and they're trying to sell to you to convert you to a Trumper.
Yeah.
Because I supposedly have disabled political ads, but they still do it.
Yeah, you can't play chess now because apparently chess is racist because the white pieces move first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
they move
now
first.
Yeah, and it's like seriously, it's the domination of the Caucasian. Oh, did you see those that couple in St. Louis defending their property?
Yes, I did. That's so blown out of proportion. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, like people say, they're peaceful protesters. They broke in through an iron gate into a private thing, but someone said you've got rooftop Koreans, now you've got front lawn Caucasians.
Right, Karens and Kens with guns.
Yeah. The memes just went through the whole thing. Recently, I can't get her name right, Gylasil or whatever, Maxwell, who got
arrested yesterday.
Yeah, how many memes and jokes already have hit the net?
Exactly. Like, is she gonna kill herself? How long before she kills herself? Or if I'm dead, I didn't kill myself.
Yeah, I shared a photo. There's a dust storm going across the city, and they've put a little dog's face in the same color, and it's like jokes about Maxwell not killing herself, and then over the town it just says the internet, and it's just whoa. Is team or league the Black Hats laughing at that perversely, or is that a warning of like we're losing control? How is that being used? If we can get a bit sort of, bit
we
deep.
haven't talked about the purple hats, the yellow hats, the brown hats, the green hats.
It's all about the hats.
Any of the other guys, the men that don't wear hats.
The hatless. Oh.
The hatless. The hatless.
I worry about the hatless. We don't know what color.
Then there's the men with hats that do the safety dance.
Men with hats, yes.
Yes,
Devo.
and they do the safety dance.
So all that goes back to like, how can we get from here to there? And I guess it is the whole, as you change yourself, the reflection changes. And by tapping into yourself, because you have mentioned it's not going to be everyone's evolving at the same time. It's only going to happen once you're evolved. It's a personal, it's an individual inside job. And when everyone's done that, then you'll come collectively.
Okay, I just had a spurt of influence from a galactic source.
Oh,
this is a comedy show, and I'm going to state this because it's going to be taken out of text a lot of times. If we were to create a conspiracy that could get over the whole world, what would the themes be?
I'm still thinking, like, you've asked me that, and I'm just trying to think. Well, it's like saying what's going to happen in in the rest of the year. Well, it's been batshit crazy till now. So
no. Let's actually, like, audience, put your collective brain power, use your conspiratorial wisdom. What would be the common themes that would attract all those conspiratorial minds that we could get a 1 million, 2 million, or 5 million view on a conspiracy theory that we created out of nothing?
As a weak example, saying like Kermit is a Babylonian frog god or something like that.
Just as an example, but we would actually flesh it out some.
Yeah. Because
and give it its stuff. A co-creating conspiracy. Thank you, Tice Austin.
Yes. Because like the mind sort of goes blank of like, well, because we know what a lot of conspiracies are out there already. So how we create one that could dominate everything else, like Krishna's a Smurf. Yeah, you need an example, and then you go okay, and then extrapolate out. Not saying
well, we could easily connect Jesus and Trump. Okay. Okay. But let's not go down that easy. Let's really put some real brain power behind it.
Yeah, you don't want something obvious where it's like, Biden's Lucifer and Trump's Jesus, and they're going to wrestle at one of the debates, and the flying spaghetti monster will referee.
And the Pastafarians will win the next election.
Yeah, amen. Except no impasta. Yeah.
Exactly. I want everyone to think about this. Between now, this is your comical homework.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to come up with a conspiracy theory that has logic behind it,
Yeah.
that taps into the top 5 themes that attract people, and we're going to craft something and release it and see how far down the conspiratorial world it goes.
Yeah, while pointing out that we're making fun of it on this show, and people will like, hang on, there's something to this, and go for that. In one of the, have you watched Red Dwarf at all?
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. They're still making it, and they're not a backlash with the whole wokeness thing, but they've had a mixed cast since 1988 or 89, and they've never made it a thing in the show or outside of the show. It's just humans doing human things. But in one of the episodes, which I think there's a psymorph thing, or they're hallucinating basically. But the idea is that Red Dwarf is a video game, and the game finishes or they're pulled out, and they're like in the Matrix type thing. So I suppose it's all the Matrix thing. So yeah, we could just try and see. That's an example, not the one we should use. That eventually we'll wake up because someone's unplugged because our last credits didn't go through to pay for the new immersive game that is Earth. Wait, what's that over there? Earth 2. Ooh.
Earth 3.9.
Yeah. You too can play 2 at the same time. Very Rick and Morty, which is based off Doc and Marty from Back to the Future.
Great example. All right, we're nearing the end of the show. Why don't you give people a way for people to get a hold of you?
On YouTube, it is Wafer Thin Entertainment. I have a donate button now, so if you want to help me buy food, hey. On Facebook, it's just Monty Dean. On Netflix, it's Monty.Dean. And if you go to the Hellspawn battleground of Twitter.
Netflix? You're on Netflix?
No, Instagram.
Instagram. You said Netflix. I'm like, oh.
I want to be on Netflix. Okay. I've got to talk to you after the show. Where did that come from?
Exactly. That's your conspiracy. Monty was on Netflix, but he's been suppressed.
There you go. Yeah, our reality is a Netflix channel. Oh. On Twitter, the shitstorm that it is, at Real Monty Dean.
And everybody, if you want to get a hold of me, you go to andrewbartzis.com. You can also find me on Facebook, YouTube, and I don't do Twitter that much. We will be back this coming Tuesday with another incredible show. Thanks a lot, everyone. Robert, take us away.
Each different bubble of reality is true. A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma. Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail. Improvise. Mysterious. It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.